with EDF, enabling investment across Britain.
8 to 8, we'll talk more about those small boat crossings in a moment. But later this year, many of you could be making crossing in the different direction, seeking to go on holiday or, for work reasons, to go into Europe, and you need to be aware of a sort of double whammy, as it were. You could be caught out by the passport 10-year rule and the introduction in the early part of October with the EES, which is the Entry-Exit System for the European Union. Here to explain, Claire Irvin, who's head of travel at the Times and the Sunday Times, joining us now. Let's start with a fairly straightforward one then, the 10-year passport rule. What do my listeners, what do the readers of the Times and Sunday Times need to ensure with respect to their passports? Morning, Claire.
Good morning. This is catching people out sillies, so far on from Brexit. Every time I go to an airport, I see people in this situation. And it's because the rules are quite complicated. If you are travelling to Europe or EU countries will not accept British passports which are more than 10 years old upon entry. Now, that may seem unlikely, but you can renew your passport before it expires. You may have a passport which appears to be valid for more than 10 years. Not the case. So, if you are travelling, you need to make sure that your passport is not more than 10 years old upon entry. But additionally, this is where it gets really complicated.
I can hear you taking a deep breath. Go on.
Your passport needs to be at least 3 months away from its expiry date when you're planning to leave the EU. So you need to take your departure date as 3 months and make sure that your passport is still valid, hasn't expired.
So that's the age and validity, or the life expectancy and validity of a passport, as it were. What I think this possibly could be more troubling, but you're the expert. What's the EES?
Another deep breath, I'm afraid.
Okay.
It's a new automated IT system which will be registering travellers from non-EU countries, such as ourselves, each time that traveller crosses a border into kiosks prior to crossing the border. But of course, this is in its infancy, and when it's infancy, there will be huge delays. People will not have registered, they will be having to register, there will be queues.
Stay right. You register when you land at Paris or Brussels. How do you do it?
You have to register the first time, then I think you will be able to go in and out automatically.
But of course, the registering is done in EU territory.
Yeah.
So you use the 5 fingerprints, is that right?
The system will register your name as a registered driver, and it will register biometric data. So that will include everything like occupation and the day and place of entry and exit. So you can only imagine the amount of places this is going to cause. For people who don't know it's happening, you haven't got the right documents. I mean, there's a way to make some of these people are interviewing, as in travel delays.
Do you still see a man or woman having passport stamped as well? When this is public running, will that go away with that?
Well,
need to check your passport now for how old it is and how much time it's got. One after you arrive, at least 3 months minimum. The other, the EES side here, is having to scan your eyes or God knows what else. That comes in as of October 6th.
Stay back.
That's 3 before 8 is the time. Chris in Richmond, how does the number of crossings impact you? Good morning.
Taken at UK borders could cause 14-hour queues in Kent, potential gridlock around Dover. The Home Office say they're working closely with the EU to minimise any impact.
Thames Water's backers have refused to inject the first part of emergency funding agreed last year. Shareholders, including China's Sovereign Wealth Fund, had been due to invest £500 million by the end of March. They want the regulator Ofwat to agree to substantial bill rises over the next 5 years. Police are looking for a suspect after a man was stabbed on a train in southeast London. The victim, who was attacked as the service approached Beckenham yesterday afternoon, suffered life-threatening injuries. There have been no arrests. Research suggests more than 3/4 of people in Scotland are in favour of legalising assisted dying. Proposals to allow assisted dying for terminally ill adults will be formally introduced at Holyrood later. There could be a debate on the issue later this year. The bill's been drafted by the Lib Dem MSP Liam MacArthur, who's told LBC News opinions have shifted.
I think it reflects the fact that more and more people now have direct personal experience of losing a loved one, a family member, a close friend, to a bad death, despite the very best efforts. It comes on the back of states and countries around the world introducing
don't mean this in a derogatory fashion, an old sweat, a sort of sergeant who's clearly been, a sergeant equivalent who's clearly been for 20 or 30 years, who mentors the rookies?
Yeah, there was someone like that, a much older guy who was lovely, and I should say these staff, they're doing their best. I'm not negative with the staff at all, but it's so understaffed. We were looking after the builders, they're doing a lot of building work in the prison, and that is such a security risk because they've got saws,
drills, hammers.
And they were being allowed to do their work, while prisoners were walking around them. And at one point, approaching the guard with them, having a bit of the doctor and said, "Let me some tools." And I should have smiled and said no. But exactly, those kind of situations. For instance, there was going.
That's not what you sign up for when you're learning your T-line shorthand, is it? Anyway, go on.
But there was a 19-year-old who was doing her best, trying to achieve the responsibility of being in charge.
whistles. So whether it's a reliable hatchback, a super versatile SUV, or one of our exceptional all-electric ID models, you get extra spec as standard with every one of our 10-match trims. More Volkswagen for your money. Visit your Volkswagen retailer for our latest offers and more. Extra spec versus nearest equivalent VW trim. Visit Volkswagen.co.uk for full details.
Host the roast with Lidl this Easter. Get our British beef joints from $5.99 a kilo, a large gammon joint for $4.49 a kilo, and a leg of lamb from only $5.69 a kilo. That's a cracking Easter with Lidl. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores, GB only.
Need help to grow your business online? Vodafone Business presents Digital SOS with me, Stephen Bart.
Going digital is everything nowadays.
Could really do with some help.
If your business is struggling with its digital skills, Vodafone Business has got you covered. Vodafone VHub is a free place to go to for small business support and practical guidance. Search Vodafone VHub now and you can book a free consultation with a VHub advisor today.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
With EDF, helping to reduce future UK carbon emissions.
Gosh.
It's a shocking investigation. Well, it is for me. I've never worked. I have been to prisons, obviously, journalistically, professionally, but I've never worked. Have you worked in a jail? Or have you been inside a jail? Have you been detained in a jail? How shocked are you by the findings from the newspaper? And it's very easy for politicians, and we're approaching, well, actually, we're in local elections, and we're approaching a general election, and people will talk about law and order, and we're going to be the party, and we're going to put more police officers on the streets, ergo, we're probably going to nick more people, ergo, we're going to put more people behind bars. Well, really? The way that's working? That seems a strange equation. We'll take your views on that. But let's get response through the eyes of an expert uniquely placed to comment on the Times investigation is John Podmore. Now, John's a professor of sociology at the University of Durham, but he was a former prison governor, and he wrote Out of Sight, Out of Mind, Why Britain's Prisons Are Failing, and he regularly helps us with matters and stories such as these, and he joins me now. Professor, start with an obvious first question, if I can, sir. Your reaction to that piece of work journalism from the Times. Good morning.
Good morning. Always a pleasure, Nick. You're not in the least bit surprised, but let me help you with what the current policy is in prisons, and you're not going to like it, is that the only prisons where staff are searched on every occasion going into the prison are what we call the high security prisons, and there's only about half a dozen of those in the country. The rest, it's random. Now, for random can mean never. You know, when I was in charge of Belmarsh, the high security prison in the country, you know, all the staff, including me, was searched on every occasion. When I ran Brixton, I was only resourced to do it randomly, but randomly can still be effective. But what we're seeing here with this crisis in the criminal justice system and meltdown in the prison and probation system is it's about understaffing, about inexperience, but fundamentally it's about leadership and management, and that's what's failing. And you get the result here from Paul, which is no searches is happening on any occasion, and therefore you've got carte blanche to bring whatever you want.
Okay, and this is, of course, I hear what you say, Professor, but this is at a time when there's work going on. So you've got hammers and drills and knives and God knows what else that could be sort of left lying around to be taken by mischievous hands.
Yeah, and you know, you use the phrase OSG, operational support grade. They're cheap prison officers. Let's be in no doubt, but they are the front line for the security of a prison. And they are taking responsibility, as you say, for tools, equipment coming into the prison. And they should be better selected, better trained. In my view, they should be full prison officers because, you know, we're told that they don't come into contact with prisoners. But, you know, as Paul found out, yes, they do. But, you know, it was ironic that he was there when when Charlie Taylor went in and published his report. And Charlie we have an excellent Chief Inspector of Prisons. We had an excellent Chief Inspector of Probation. Both of them are cataloguing a prison and probation service in meltdown, and no one is being held to account. In all this kind of nonsense about early release, prisons are full, probation is full. So turning people out of prisons, giving them to probation can't cope with them either. In the last 3 months of last year, 7,000 prisoners who've been released were brought back in, and only a small proportion of those were reoffending. So people in prison aren't being prepared for release or being supported when they're on the out. And the only solution is, well, we'll build more prisons. Well, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Lastly, in a leader in the newspaper, or a leading article in the newspaper, they seem to pin the blame to those ones who went down to the so-called Cameron Osborne years of austerity. Was that a sea change moment, would you say, Professor?
No. The problem's been going on for decades. The problem is about leadership and management in the prison service, and it's easy to blame grayling, overcrowding, and all this, that, and the other. But prisons ministers change like the wind. We've got a hapless Alex Chalk there. He'll be gone by the autumn.
Yep.
All the ministers have been outmanoeuvred by a bloated bureaucracy that's been running the service for decades.
Grateful as ever for your time. John Popmore, thank you. Professor of Sociology at the University of Durham, former prison governor of Belmarsh. And that gets other than that. The book is Out of Sight, Out of Mind, Why Britain's Prisons Are Failing. A couple of emails on that just to get us started. Mark's is understanding the top management of government to give the jobs to army personnel. It sounds like a holiday camp. Mark, I can understand your initial reaction. I think actually problems from the sound of it actually run a little bit deeper than that. Dave in Wimbledon, a Tory spokesman, were busy drafting a response blaming Putin's illegal war, Sadiq Khan and the flag on the back of an England shirt. With these obstacles, of course, it's not fair to blame the Tories. I think you've got your tongue in your cheek as you say that, but we will actually stay with politics. So we'll come to your thoughts on that in just a moment, but I have got a politician and a key politician as part of our next conversation waiting, so I'd like to get to that now, if that's okay. And this is as you've heard on the LBC News Bulletin, legislation at Holyrood to legalise assisted dying, as a poll has shown it changes back by more than 3/4 of Scots. Dave Esther Ranson has praised this as historic. I remind you that Esther, of course, did a series of exclusive radio interviews with me earlier in the year. Sadly has stage 4 lung cancer and has considered travelling to Switzerland for an assisted death. She says people should have the right to choose. Probably was the Dave Esther's final campaign, sadly. And we also know that the number of Brits joining Dignitas, which is just mentioned, the clinic you can go to in Switzerland, that has risen, or as one newspaper, The Guardian, says, has soared by nearly a quarter. So what lies behind this? Well, I said, never talk to politicians who are behind it. Liam McCarthy, Lib Dem, MSP for Albany, behind the bill. Good to have you on. Very difficult conversation to discuss, very sensitive. But what's persuaded you to take the action that you have, Mr. McCarthy? Good morning. Those who have concerns, I have to ask Mr. Allen, what checks and balances will you be exploring, or the legislation be exploring?
Yeah, well, look, there are no two laws on assisted dying anywhere in the world that are exactly the same, but there is a terminal law, it's mental capacity law, that was first introduced in the state of Oregon in the US back in the late 1990s. It is now in place in about a dozen states in the US, and it was introduced across Australia and New Zealand, and that's that program that introducing that would require 2 doctors to make the determination of the diagnosis.
Does the person find the doctors, or is one a sort of state-appointed doctor? Is it Well done to you. I choose those words carefully. I'm aware that a lot of people think this is a terrible backward step. I'm actually not on that camp. I think congratulations. I hope that the legislation is considered and a good debate arises. Liam McCarthy, Lib Dem MSP for Orkney. It's interesting. Coming back to this, the figures increasing for Dignitas. Dignitas saying the jump is due to increasing press coverage and the ageing of the baby boomer generation, which, as I now quote, is used to self-determination and making individual choices for their own life. If you are of that generation, you'll be ready to sign up for Dignitas at one of the Scottish men. Let's go a minute later, because I had to take the politician there, but I do want to talk jails. I want to talk with Alison Wolverhampton, because you've worked in some way, shape or form in prisons, haven't you? Good morning.
Stay left, then continue straight. Go straight. Stay left.
Right. Finally, we are here.